and welcome to another Come Crafting with Jill and Jez. We do a live crafting session over on our Facebook group, Come Crafting with Jill and Jez, on the first Saturday of every month. And this week we are playing with some Sale-A-Bration stuff. Right, Sale-A-Bration, so runs until September the 30th, and I'm using the bedazzling paper. That's what I've decided to use. And I made this for a blog hop that went live at 2 o'clock. And when I cut it out, I cut it from a 3x3 inch square and thought I'll do something else with the other. So that's what I'm doing. I've then made a practice one. So that's what I'm doing here to show how you can take, because they're 6x6 square sheets, and we don't want to waste anything. So my idea was to they're quite thick as well, and they're smooth on the other side. You get 8 altogether. Obviously I've got half a pack because Jill's got the other half. Yeah, because that's what we do. I
haven't cut into mine yet.
And so what I did was, I'm going to use my little guillotine, was I cut them down to 3x3.
Hang on a sec. Sue's only just joined us. Sue, you won the challenge.
Yay!
Yay! So you missed it if you weren't here at the beginning, but you're still the winner.
Absolutely. So we've got so you get 4 3x3 squares. Okay, so I then took my post-it, which I punched out with my tree punch, and I just place it central on that, so I can put my tree up. Oh, it's moved. It's because I've used this post-it several times.
Not sticky enough.
It's not sticky anymore. Yeah, something to look at that. You see, oh, that doesn't show on camera, but I just knocked things for a Burton that are carefully balanced off camera. There we are. We'll use this one. This is not a very good tape pen, which is good enough for doing this. So put that in the middle, like so. I think that's about central. Could probably do with going up. No, it'd be fine. And then it's getting a bit dog-eared, but that's fine. And then, oh, that's not straight at all. I can also tell with the way it's lining up with the edge of the punch. So I think we are now cooking on gas. It's quite thick, this cardstock, and it does take a little bit of bashing or pressing, do you know what I mean? So what I ended up with was 1 tree and 1 outline to make 2 cards. Now you could make like that a topper for a gift box. I made a card that matches.
Oh, very nice.
Okay, so that's out of 1 bit, card that matches. Then out of that outside bit, I made a little square card. So I'm going to make both these cards, but they're going to be completely different colours. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, I did a little experiment before we started. I took Blackberry Bliss re-inker. I took some rubbing alcohol. Everybody's using this right now, aren't they, on vellum? I really need to try that. Yeah. I took one of our spritzers. I kind of filled up to about where the Stampin' Up logo is, and then I put 6 drops of Blackberry Bliss re-inker in here. Okay, give it a shake. So that's now alcohol with some colour, and then I want to colour that. So it will go everywhere. So I have a shoebox. And I'm just going to spray it. It does take a little bit of a while to dry. So that's why I'm doing this first. So I'm just spraying all over. Okay. And then I want some ribbon to kind of match. So I'm using one of the new ribbons in the catalogue, which is this organdy white ribbon. So I'm just going to snip a bit of that off. And what you find when you colour things like this with the re-inker, the colour's a bit lighter. So it's not really Blackberry Bliss. I'm just going to move this off a sec. And the reason why I'm doing this and not using a blend is because it's got glitter on it, and I'm afraid of it harming the nib.
It will.
That's why I chose to sort of...
Yeah.
But also, it won't be the same colour then. So this way, it will be the same colour. So I'm going to move those to one side, and we'll come back to that in a minute. And meanwhile, we'll do this card. Okay, so I'm going to, so I've done it in very vanilla for a check, because this isn't, it's not as silver as silver. It's it's like a yellow silver.
It's champagne,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's not silver, because when I used it on on this one, I thought it worked okay because there's gold in this paper, and so I can use gold and silver together, and that kind of, I thought, worked. That was my thoughts. Okay, so my square, I don't want this one. I want to do this one, don't I? So I do want very vanilla anyway, because I want to do it for the mat. We're not doing this one. I've just left that one to dry. So I'm going to cut me mats down and do it to my usual mat size, which is 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. So I want one for the front, and I want one for the inside. I am doing a rich raspberry card base. I knew there was something I forgot. It's a good thing. Most things in my craft room are hand reachable. So got some rich raspberry.
It's one of my favorite colours. I like that colour.
I do as well. It was that and Blackberry Bliss. They were the two first, cardstock packs I bought a full pack of. So I'm just gonna, there we go. So that's my card blank. Sorry for not doing that straight away. I mean, you know, before I came on. Where's my bone folder? There. I found my Teflon bone folder. I love it. Well, I say I found it. It was on the other desk, which I no longer use because it's a sewing desk. So we've got that. So that's going to layer up on there. And so now we want a strip across. So I'm going to do something really scary. I'm cutting into this beautiful paper.
Oh.
Can you believe it? So I'm going to take, so there was a Blackberry Bliss sheet and rich raspberry, and I was kind of deciding on which I'd go for. And I decided to go for that one because the pattern's busier and I thought that would work better. So I'm showing I can make a Christmas card that's not actually with Christmas paper. So these are, it's about 2 inches deep, and I've cut it so that it overlaps. So I cut it at 1 3/4. So I'm cutting that at 1 3/4. And we're going and we're going to go down to 3 7/8 is the width. I don't want to do a strip all the way across, because I don't know what else I'm going to do with this paper. So I'm being
That's very frugal.
It is. Well, that's just the way I am. That's how I roll. When you've got something so beautiful, you want it to last as long as possible. So that's my little strip across, and it just looks so regal and beautiful and lovely. And then I want a little bit of gold to mat either side. So that was 1 3/4. So I'm going to go up to 1 7/8 with this, and I'm cutting it to the same width, which is 3 7/8. There we go. So that's those bits done.
We've got people joining us, but my number still says there's 7 watching, so I don't know whether we're losing people and gaining people.
The iPad says 15.
Oh really? My phone says 7.
Yeah, I can't see my phone, but
updating.
So that's going to go on there like that. That's going to go there
Beautiful.
On that. We're going to use the gold twine that goes with the elegantly doodah, but we need to do a little sentiment. So I've set up, because that is a wish for everything, and so I put the happy and the Christmas on there. It's in the place I want it to be for both cards, and both cards are a different size. So I've been a bit clever. Needs must. So I'm using Versamark. Like so. Going to get my gold powder, which is here.
Now everyone's telling me there are 15. I don't know why my phone is saying 7.
Mine now says 14.
Oh, you've offended somebody.
Yeah. I had to send messages out. Ed's gone into work today because it's universities get results today.
Oh yeah.
So he's had to go in, and like he would normally message at some point. So it's like, don't message between 2 and 3:30. I went round a mate's house last night, and she's dropping me the stuff off that I took round. So I said, don't call between 2 and 3:30. So I just hope they got them.
Yeah, no, I was doing that as well. My sister's coming round straight after this, because my sister-in-law gave us a whole carrier bag full of runner beans, and I thought, I don't know what she thinks I'm going to do with these, but I'm not spending the whole day cutting up runner beans to put in the freezer, so I'm distributing them. So I said to my sister, come round, and then I had an afterthought and said, don't come before 3:30.
I didn't hear any of that, but
oh well, maybe our listeners did.
So that's that. So I'm just going to glue those together. So it took me quite a while to marry up me Happy Christmas. I have to trim the stamps so there wasn't a huge space in between them. I could have done Happy on one plate and Christmas on the other, but that's just ridiculous.
They do take a while to hold them straight.
And so once it was done, it's like, well, that's staying there now.
Yeah, forever.
Well, I did have them on for ages. I had them on a little block, you know, the little whatever blocks they are.
Yeah.
I had it on that G block, which is handy for stamping it if you're then going to sort of punch it or die cut the sentiment.
I normally have mine lined up on a block and I don't move them, so I haven't used it yet this year, but once I use it I'll line it up and it probably won't get taken off until after Christmas again.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I do the same at Easter as well. I have one set up for Easter, but I only wanted a little happy Christmas.
Yeah.
And this, it's perfect for that. So I put this, I think I put it on the 3/4, didn't I? Yeah, so I put it on there at 3/4 so that I could marry that up along that line there to be straight. And then, as in practice, it wants straight, so I just fiddle. There we go. So that's that. Where's my tree gone? Putting some dimensionals on the back of the tree. And I just thought, that paper, it's not Christmas, but it's good enough. Somebody saying about a runner bean.
Yes, send me recipes for my runny beans.
Oh, have you got lots of runner beans?
Yes, my sister-in-law sent us a whole carrier bag full, considering there's only 2 of us that live here. So.
Oh, blooming heck.
Oh no.
Oh, it's going to have to stick back down where it was. It wasn't quite straight, but never mind. It is what it is. It's staying there now.
Oh, garlic runner beans. There we go. I just can't be bothered to faff with them. They take so long to prepare. I'm a very lazy cook.
Now, I'm cooking tonight because Ed's obviously at work, and our son comes round on a, well, he has ever since you could bubble up last year.
Yeah.
He come round on a Saturday night for dinner. So so I went, oh well, I'll cook. So that means the whole meal's vegetarian.
Yeah.
Liam will go, what? No meat?
Yeah.
No meat today.
Well, just be grateful you don't have to go, no gluten.
Yeah. So we're having nut roast.
It's really weird, this gluten thing. I didn't realise that there's gluten in oat milk.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in oats, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a substance in oat, I think. I think it's mostly that it's processed in the same factories as wheat and barley. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But unless it specifically says that there's no gluten, then oat milk probably has gluten in it.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting. Got to pay 3 times as much for oat milk that doesn't have gluten in as normal.
Of course. There we go. My little. How am I doing for time?
It's 2:30.
I've got the other one to make. That's me faffing with a blooming bow. Should have done one first. You know, before. That'll do. That'll do. And where's my glue dots? So they're staring you in the face, Jazz. Staring you in the face. There we go. Little glue dot. I sort of roll it over. Sort of put it where I want it. Stick my bow on. Pull it out. There we go. So that's card number 1. Okay, and then we should now be able to get card number 2. So I just need to do the card blank. This one should do it. So I've got thick fairy vanilla and 8 1/4 wide is our paper. So that means it's 4 1/8 is half of it, so I'm cutting this at 4 1/8, scoring at 4 1/8, and that gives us our nice square card. So this one's much quicker because most of it's done. There we go. We want a little bit of, we're going rich raspberry again, which you might think you did it with blackberry bliss, Jez. And but you'll see when I bring it out of the shoebox. So I'm doing this 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. That actually, despite it being blackberry bliss, when it dyes it, the colour is nearer rich raspberry than blackberry bliss. So that's why I've gone.
I've got a Christmas jumper that's exactly that colour.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So I want to stamp the sentiment. So not moving me Happy Christmas. It's in the right place for what I want. I need my rich raspberry ink, which I got out before we started. There it is. I did on the other one, I did go over with a heat embossed it, but I won't do this one because short of time now, aren't we? So there we go. With me Happy Christmas, leaving it unembossed. If I was going to heat emboss it, so what I do now is I clean that, ink it up with Versamark, put clear embossing powder on it. But we're not doing that today.
You might not need it with the sparkly card. It might be a bit too much with them embossing
yeah.
as well.
So
nice
now it gets a bit wet, so you need to put lots of dimensionals around it to hold it in place. It's not quite dry yet, it's still quite wet, but it'll be fine.
You should have done here's one I made earlier. You should have done a blue.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I have got here's one I made earlier. There's one I made earlier.
There you go.
And I'd forgotten about that, Jill.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So I'm just gonna stick that on. I'm going to stand up for this because I want to get it in the right place. So this sticks nicely with a nice little margin around.
That's great.
So there we have it. So they are my 2 cards. So 2 for 1. That is 1 3 by 3.
Yeah, so you can get 8 cards out of one sheet then.
You can get 8 cards out of one sheet, and you can change them up and have different colours. So obviously
you could make 64 Christmas cards with just 1 pack of glimmer paper.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'm glad you did the maths on that one.
Have a conveyor belt going.
Yeah. And the way I tied that bow was I just tied it round. It's not a bow, it's a knot. I tied it round. But you could equally just make a bow and stick it on.
Yeah.
But I just did a knot that way and then over, and that's how I did that, and then I just trimmed it down. Okay, so there we go.
Excellent.
I'll come back up.
Come back up for air.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you'd like to join us live next time, why don't you pop over to Facebook and request to join our group. It'd be lovely to have you. Now, down in the description box, there'll be a link now to Jill's bit of crafting. So go and pop over to Jill's channel and see what she's made.